Savannah caught Jackson Hewitt employee coaching illegals on how they could get up to $14,000 in tax refunds, whether working or not.
We do this stuff like this, like at all the shelters and stuff.
But like our company, this is why we try to help people by, providing them with refunds,
This is Savannah Hernandez in front of the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City. Now, we wanted to come check in on the migrant crisis, and as we were walking around, we saw a Jackson Hewitt table out here with an employee who was handing out this flyer. Now, what this flyer says is working or not, file your taxes, and we can get the maximum refund for your family.
What?
And the paper says that if you have one child, you can get over $7,000 in a refund, and if you have up to 3 children, you can get over $14,000. So the Jackson Hewitt employee who initially handed me this paper, after finding out I was a journalist, took the paper away. That's why this one's so dirty, because a migrant ended up giving me another copy, and he stated that if he's put on camera and this goes out, that legal will have to get involved.
We do this stuff like this, like at all the shelters and stuff.
But like our company, this is why we try to help people by, providing them with refunds,
So you guys are trying to help the migrants with their taxes then,
Yes.
to help them get refunds, help them get some money back from the government.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, we're just going to go try to talk to them.
Can't put my footage.
Can we
Yes,
take
you
one of your
can.
papers, though, just so we can...
You're on the public street, homie. You can't. That's one of the things that like people like. You can't film me. Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Anywhere in public, I can film you and I can put it on the internet. Like you cannot. You can't get that. This is crazy.
Is that girl saying like, oh yeah, this is what our company does, and the second later the employee is like, actually the company would be mad if they knew we were doing this. Like,
Yes, that's what it seems like.
so are you guys so generous or what?
Actually, you should just take this one because this one has my office information, and
Okay.
so therefore legal would have to get involved. So that's
Okay, so just wanted to give you guys an idea of, again, what migrants have been told in New York City. Now that tax season is coming up, they are being given official flyers from Jackson Hewitt themselves on how to file their taxes. We have the Trump administration that is currently in office, and they have been promising mass deportations. But in sanctuary cities like New York, where you've had over 200,000 illegal immigrants make their way to this area, the crisis is very much alive and well. Now, this shelter behind me is actually set to close in June, but you have another shelter.
By the way, shout out to Sav. 150,000 likes.
And what's so cool about her work is that she's so dedicated to being boots on the ground, right? Like,
Yeah,
she was like,
yeah.
I'm coming to report on this crisis, and this is what I found just on an average day in the lead up to tax season. The fact that
Yeah.
she is willing to go and do and be there is really cool.
Mm-hmm. This 40 IQ guy's like, you do realize by saying that you debunked the whole undocumented immigrants don't pay taxes, right? It's like, no, this isn't about undocumented they're getting refunds even if they're not working.
Yeah.
They can't, Elon, no, Einstein. They can get tax refunds and tax credits, which can be cashed without paying taxes. This is like,
So it's worse. It's not even that they're
it's
not
worse. Yeah,
they're
exactly.
not just not paying taxes, they're also making money off of being in America.
It is so insidious and so gross. Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand how, like, and here's the paperwork. I mean, it's like literally Democrats claim illegals pay taxes. Reality, aliens are collecting tax refunds whether they're working or not.
I also like that the guys like legal would have to get involved to intimidate Savannah.
Like,
You
she
know?
gives us, I've seen her fight people, physically
Yeah.
fight people in the streets. She's not going to be intimidated.
And like, dude, that's your fault. You shouldn't have talked to someone. It's not like she's like secret recording you. She's holding a microphone up.
Yeah, exactly. There's no doubt here that they're stealing. I mean, this is some sort of tax. I mean, what Jackson Hewitt's doing is probably saying, "Hey, we'll help you." It's probably a loophole, is what it probably is. But then they're going to charge them like they're basically telling them like, "You'll hero free money," and then they're going to charge them an exorbitant rate for their time.
And they get a portion of the free money, right?
Right.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you make however much of this, and we get 30%.
Well,
Like,
and you
they're
don't
doing it for
understand.
themselves.
Yeah, they won't understand anything. It is so crazy. The fraud. Like, you also had, by the way, officially now, USAID shut down. The State Department is fully shutting down USAID as of today. I don't know what that means. Like, I
Do you
don't know, because isn't this going to be challenged and this kind of stuff?
Do you give any credence to the idea that one of the reasons Daily Wire is having money issues is because they were getting stuff from USAID?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
It's funny timing, but
Mhm.
I'm sure they're not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
At least, I don't know. Maybe
I would be surprised, but
I would be very, very surprised. But if with USAID shutting down, it would be pretty interesting. Let me see if I have this. I mean, I thought that they already shut down. That's why I didn't make a video about it today, because I was like,
it's just been so slow.
oh yeah, maybe now it's just like officially shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, there's this video too. Here's a USAID employee saying, as a federal employee, so many people, thousands of people distrusted that the deferred resignation would be valid, that our government wouldn't pay us, our president or vice president wouldn't honor the agreement they made. So I'd just like to be sure to make you guys know that for the second time, we have in fact been paid. Promises made, promises kept. There were a lot of people that were like, well, if you cut off all these programs, USAID, or you should close this department or that department, this is, it's going to create havoc, except it's not.
Mm-hmm.
People are still getting paid. I guess, I don't know. How much of this stuff do you think is going to get through now? How much, when are we going to see some of this money? Because I would, in the form of reduced taxes. I suspect, just like if you have like a big company and you have to do, a mass layoff, and you have a soul and you give like 30 days notice, or you give some sort of severance.
Yeah.
You're not really cutting that cost for many months. You may have contracts that you end, but there are a lot of contracts that we ended, but we still are, going through 2025.
Right.
There's a
They're
lot.
not immediately cut off. There's like at least another 6 months or whatever of payment.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that we start to see some of this money actually, get out of here and get, I don't know. I'm hoping by the end of the year, we start seeing some like big tax cuts.
Yeah.
I don't need a Doge check. I think that if it pays down debt, that's the correct thing to do. I wouldn't say no to a Doge check because my coffee company could use the $5,000.
Look, it's tough out here as an American.
Yeah, it's hard out here.
Alive.
Yeah. The thing about the refund checks is that, like, if Trump wasn't in office, I would take it for sure, because it's like, give me the refund check because I know you're just going to spend my money on something else stupid, like condoms for Buffalo and Zimbabwe. So you might as well give me my money back. Like,
Right.
But at least with like Trump, I'm hopeful that he's going to spend the money in a wise manner, in
I
a
think that's
way
how a lot
that,
of people feel. Like, I think that's why a lot of people are open to this restructuring anyways, or being like, yes, I know that closing this, I know that closing the Department of Education doesn't mean that I necessarily am going to see a personal huge bump, but overall the money is going to go to a more effective cause or be used in a way that makes sense. It's hard to be like, if you feel like you're, I think a lot of people do, your money's really tight right now, no matter what you do, just prices are expensive. It's costing a lot to stay alive. And then on top of that, you have to pay the government, which then has no accountability and gets to spend freely and ridiculously. It's like insult to injury. It's different when you're like, I actually trust you and believe that you're doing something worthwhile.
Yeah. And I'm hopeful that we get Trump, JD Vance, into somebody else, so that, because a lot of the stuff we're doing now isn't going to really pay off until, 5 or 10 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
If you force a lot of these companies to, move back home, it's going to take a while. Yeah. It's going to take a while before they can build a factory or whatever the case is. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting.
Even like, I remember covering when Smith & Wesson left the Connecticut, Massachusetts area, and they relocated to Knoxville. And like you're saying, like they're a company. They have to give. It's not like they can just like actually pick up and move overnight. Like that's not how that works. It took them, I think, probably 2 years. So their employees had notice that these changes were coming. Some of them were offered jobs there. Some of them were offered severance. But it wasn't like, you know, in 4 months it was completely done and over. All of the bureaucracy behind it, and to be fair, some of the time that you need to give employees adds up. If, you know, the money that comes from closing the Department of Education or USAID or whatever, like it will take, I think, I don't know, probably minimum until midterms before you start seeing.
Yeah. That's why I think
kind of
Trump's
change.
taking a beating now. I think he's like, look, I'll take the short term, you know, stock market crashing down, all this stuff. And like, so that by midterms, you know, people only care about what's been going on the last month. So if by midterms the stock markets are back, you know, rising and looking good, and people's retirement funds are looking good, that's, I think, the play. You know, that I think that's the play, I think. So, and
you can point back and be like, yeah, things were tough at the beginning, but we made the changes and now we're seeing the results. Imagine what we can do with the next 2 more years if we have more support in the House, in the Senate, kind of thing, or with your governors, or whatever kind of pitch you want to make as a party.